Yeah, what's going on, guys? So this is the Daily HiFi podcast, and today we have the youth
Hey,
man,
what's up, guys?
Michael Stevens.
What's happening, man?
What's going on, man?
I'm good, man. Getting ready for
Everything's
the new
good, huh?
year.
Yeah.
Had a
So
good
if you don't know,
Christmas.
Michael has a channel. I'm sure you guys already know his channel's popping off. Youth Man Reviews. You do a lot of home theater stuff, right?
Yeah, mostly home theater. I do some two channel, but the vast majority of what I do on my channel is home theater related.
Awesome, man. Well, cool. We got a lot. We have a lot. So we're gonna try to do a different format today.
All right, cool.
Let us know in the chat here how our levels are, right? So we can never tell on our end here how we sound. Like yours sounds like a good level to me, but I don't know if we're too loud on the other end. So well, I have to rely on them to let us know.
Gotcha.
All right, one second here. Cool. Um, are we public? Are we public? I hope we're
I
public. Let me see
don't
if we're
know.
public.
I don't
One
see
second
anybody.
here. Somebody said, "What's up, guys?"
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. All right, Pote's in
We
the
just
house.
It just takes a while for people to get in here.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I
Tell
think
you what,
we're good to go.
let me pull up the other
Um,
stream here.
all right. Let us get set up real quick here. We're missing some people today, huh?
We are, man. Had some bail right at the last minute on Chana. He's trying to do a gig. What tomorrow? He said.
Yeah, he has something going on tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Rob E, for the support. Where's Techno Dad? That's what I'm wondering. Where is he at? No, he had to run last minute. He does his DJ thing, so he had something going on. It says Mike's is a little. Let me turn mine down. How about that? Maybe we're Let me know if we're equal volume.
All right, it says mine's a little low, so do you want me to turn? We
I'll
tried
turn mine down. I'd
adjusting.
rather turn mine down
Okay,
because mine sounds a little bit hot.
okay.
All right. So we're
Does that sound a
still
little
trying
bit
to
more
set.
balanced, guys?
Yeah,
What's
you
up, El
guys.
Jefe?
El Jefe's in the house?
He is. He is.
Oh my goodness. Man, we should have had El Jefe on here.
Rob said Techno Dad's probably overpaying for something somewhere.
Exactly.
He's buying some cables.
There
He's
you
got
go.
a gig, DJ gig, probably for a wedding.
So here's the format for today. So first, we're Michael and I have a few questions that I want to ask you that I want us to discuss, and then I'm gonna open it up to the calls for about 20 minutes, let people call in, and then I want to answer questions from the chat. So save your questions for us for that section, and I'll leave a little banner there to let you know where we're at. But for right now, I have a few questions for you if you're ready.
Yeah, let's do it,
You
man.
ready?
I'm ready.
Ready? All right, cool. So the first question I have is what's something that you learned recently that's hi-fi audio video related?
Oh man, coming with the big questions here.
Yeah, so I mean we're always learning something
Oh,
new, right?
absolutely.
When we're reviewing these things, like something I didn't know before.
Sure.
What's something you learned
Probably the
recently?
most recent thing I thought when I got the Martin Logan 60 XTIs, I thought those were ribbon tweeters. And a lot of people in the comments had mentioned something about ribbon tweeters. And then I had to share with them, apparently they're not ribbon tweeters. There's something, I think he said they were AMTs. Is that right?
Air motion transformer?
Yeah, something like that. So that's a little different. And honestly, I haven't had really much experience with Martin Logan. And so I'm excited to get those and coming out of Christmas holidays. So it's been real busy at our house. I know even right now we've got family over at the house. So it's been cool, man.
Yes. All right. So basically, first time you got to play with something like the AMTs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, I've heard them at some of the like hi-fi shows and such. So,
All
but
right.
never had
All
them in
right.
my home. So they
Well, I
sound
have
good.
I have something that I learned recently that I think you might find useful.
Okay.
Um, we do a lot of measurements with REW, right?
Sure.
And so we usually have to do that sweep like whoop,
Right.
whoop,
Yep.
for every position though, right?
Yeah.
So, if you move one seat over, that's going to be
hmm
a different measurement,
That is correct.
right? So I learned something from somebody. Let me get his name right. Charles Sprinkle.
Okay.
Charles Sprinkle, and he's the engineer at Cali Audio.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So those guys used to be with JBL,
Okay.
right? So they sent me their studio monitors. I don't know if you see them right here, the Cali
Yep.
LP6s. But the dude's super smart, right? And I got a chance to talk to him on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
and I was talking about measurements, and he's like, you know what? I'm doing this thing called the moving mic measurement.
Moving mic measurement.
Moving mic, right? And so that's not moving Michael Youth Man, moving microphone measurement.
Right.
And he has a whole white paper on it, all this stuff. And basically, it's a way to do the measurements, and you're actually moving the mic, and so it's taking an average of all the different locations.
Okay.
And according to him, you have to have like 200 and something mics in order to get that same measurement.
Wow.
So you, at the end of the day, you kind of just get a better, more accurate
Hmm.
representation of what it sounds like in that space,
Gotcha.
because of course it sounds different in
Interesting.
different locations. So I'm going to show you that after. It's pretty cool. Basically, you're moving the mic around, and an REW, instead of taking the measurement,
Mm-hmm.
hitting that button for measurement,
Right.
you're going into the RTA,
Okay. Right. The real
and
time was that real time analyzer?
yeah, real-time
Okay.
analyzer, and you're letting it do its thing, and
Okay.
it's taking an average every time. Like the longer you have it
Mm-hmm.
running, the better the measurement is.
Right.
So that's something I learned recently. I thought that was
Definitely.
cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
I-
RAW is definitely kind of not my specialty.
Yeah.
I'm super green when it comes to that. And really, for the most part, I've just used it to kind of measure subwoofers. You know, how do they respond in my room?
Hmm.
I know that you can also take them like out in a field where you don't have reflections and your wall interacting, and
Oh yeah,
um,
the placement. Like
yeah,
you're talking about like ground plane measurements and
yeah. So,
putting your
but honestly,
speaker like 13 feet up in the air or something like
yeah.
that.
I mean, I really, I just don't have the facility to do that and the capability. Um, and I could take it out in somebody's strawberry field, but then I've got to figure out a way to get power to them. And, you know,
Strawberry field.
I'm serious. We have a lot of strawberries around here, man. That's like
Yeah.
our area here in Florida.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I think anybody who's out there using REW might find this technique useful.
Nice.
And there's actually a video that he made. I'm gonna link to that in the description. Hopefully I remember.
Great.
Um, right. I'm just looking at the comments here. Do either of you have a bad hair day? Always looking so fresh and so clean. Y yes.
Yeah.
I do. I
Yeah.
don't know about you, Michael.
I just typed it. I'm like, every day's a bad hair day for me, man.
Oh man.
You can see my junk is like all getting crazy and squirrely up here. If I let mine grow any longer than it is now, it gets kind of real wavy. And so that's really why I'd keep it short. So,
Well, thank you, Tristan,
yeah,
for that.
Joe's
Uh,
always on point with his hair. Actually, the
yeah.
one day you had to, right before we started the podcast, you're like, oh man, I gotta go brush my hair, man. It was all jacked up. You were wearing a hat that day, remember?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My hair is crazy. I should do it one day
Yeah.
with nothing in my hair. It looks it's crazy.
I could literally just mess mine up, just put some water in it, and you guys would be like, dang, don't ever do that again.
I'm happy to have hair. That's all I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's all good,
All
man.
right.
One
So
day it may
that
not be
was
there.
question number one. Now
Yeah.
I have another question for you.
All
All
right.
right. So this is something that I was hoping to get in our last podcast, but we were
Okay.
just so busy. It gets crazy over here in the chat. Like everybody's
Yeah.
asking questions
Oh, it
and
was
then people
blowing
calling
up
in.
last week.
So here's the question. What is something in hi-fi, AV, car audio, personal audio, whatever, uh, technology related that you would like to see in 2020?
Like something new?
Something new. Like what do you want to see in 2020 that maybe is not out yet or not
Hmm.
developed yet or something like that?
Something new. Because man, that's the thing with home theater, especially technology changes so quickly, and it's like okay, even just looking back 5, 10 years ago, so much has changed, and now we're some guys are running 11, 13, 20 channels in their room. And some guys are asking, where are we going next? Are we going to start because we've got sound, around us, surround sound, and then we've got surround now behind us and above us. So where else can we go? Like sound under us, on the floor, or
Below us?
yeah. And we've already got bass shakers, and so man, honestly, I mean, you really have to be a visionary to kind of, think through like what could be coming next. Um, Man, that's a great question.
Any wishes from from Youth Man over there?
As far as like, um, as far as technology, not necessarily. I know there's some products that I'd love to hear.
All right. What is that?
Hopefully in the coming year. And actually, I think Tristan's kind of heading that direction. I'd love to hear JTR. I just got their subwoofers. They're dual 18-inch, and I'd love to hear their towers. Not so much. They have floor standing speakers, but they also have what they call MTM. So you basically have a tweeter in the middle, and then there's a driver like a woofer above it and below it. So they've got many models. Let me pull up here. So there's one like I think they've got a 215 RM, a 212 RM, and a 210. So basically it's dual 10-inch, dual 12-inch, or dual 15-inch.
Can you
And
pull those
then,
up? Because I want
yeah,
these people to see how
yeah.
crazy this looks.
Oh,
I went
yeah,
to the
it's pretty
website
sick. All right, let me
and
go
I have
back here.
seen MTMs before.
Yeah.
This looks like no MTM that I've ever seen. It
This
looks
would be just
crazy.
really cool to me to try behind. And really, these are designed to be behind an an AT screen, an acoustic transparent screen like I have.
All right, so there you go. What size woofer is that? So I see two woofers there.
Yeah, so 215 would be dual 15s.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so there's also a dual, I think Jeff's got a dual 10-inch that he just came out with. And then see, here's a 212 HT. So some of these are ported. You can see there's little slants right or slots right here. So those are
Wow.
going to be ported. I'm trying to get away from ported because behind my screen it does flex my screen.
Oh
I
yeah.
get questions
Yeah.
asked all the time with my dual PB16s SVS. Does it blow your screen? And absolutely. I mean, it blows. It's like a mini tornado behind there. Um, with the lights on, I see it, but as soon as I turn the lights on, you can't tell any difference. And the biggest reason because the screen, if you think about it, the screen is moving towards the projector
Mm.
and away from the projector.
Well, the thing
And
that
you're
might
only
be interesting,
and you're only
it
talking like maybe half an inch, maybe. And so
got it.
you can't see that physically when the lights are off.
I'm wondering
So
if there's some kind of like a with microphones there's a pop filter,
hmm
kind of like a screen that you put in front of it that prevents the plosives and the air. I wonder if
sure.
there's like a thin screen that you could put just right in front of the speaker slightly to
hmm
kind of prevent that air from transferring to the screen.
Yeah, I don't know
Maybe
if
something
a
to think
pop.
about.
Yeah, I don't know if a pop filter, but some guys had suggested kind of in front of the ports, kind of making I don't know even what you would call it, but almost like a deflector. So it'd
Yeah,
kind of take the sound and shoot it sideways instead of right at the screen.
exactly. Well, try
So
putting up like a giant pantyhose or something like that in
I
front
don't
of like just
I don't think a giant pantyhose. I mean,
no,
think
no.
about it. Think about what my acoustic transparent screen is. It's fabric,
Right,
and it's got like a weave. There's like kind of like this right here. It's like a mesh,
right.
and so I don't know if another mesh in front of or in between the screen and the subwoofer would really make a difference. So
Maybe something to think about or
yeah,
something to invent. Maybe other people are having the same issue as you.
yeah,
So for me, 2020, I'm hoping to see. Hmm, I should have thought of that about this before.
yeah. You came up with questions.
No, okay. So here's what I want to see. I've been saying this for a while. Is those small Class D amps? You got a cherry amp, right?
hmm
So those small, powerful Class
Sure.
D. I think Class D's on its way up. They're
hmm
starting to make really good ones where
Yeah.
even audiophiles like the sound of them, right?
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, they didn't really sound that great.
hmm
But now they're starting to get really good. And
Right.
so I'm hoping to see like a really small Class D amp. And just for 2020, I'm not going to ask for too much. I would like to see one of those with some HDMI options, right? That way you could connect it to your TV
Right.
and
Okay.
really use it as a soundbar alternative, right? And so that's something that I really haven't seen. I've seen it once on an NAD. I think one of the more recent NAD amplifiers has HDMI, but I'd like to see more amplifiers like that at a low price point, like below 500. Like if
Gotcha.
they could get it in the 300-ish price range, that would be awesome. And I'm not even asking for multi-channel. I'm just asking for two channels, 2.1, right?
Right.
So two channels, a sub out, and I'd like for that to decode, any signal and make it compatible
Mm.
with a 2.1 setup. I
Interesting.
think that would be a good transition for most people. For me, I don't know about you. You tell me, would you rather have a sound bar right? It's adorable. You're already nodding no. Hold on,
It's hard, man, when you got, big
hold
speakers
on.
like I've got in my living room and in my home theater. I don't think there's a sound bar that anybody will ever create unless they have like 10-inch woofers in them. That's really going to impress me.
Maybe a
It
JTR soundbar.
maybe,
You know
maybe
what I mean?
put a big old
No, so
horn in the middle.
yeah. So here's the deal, right? All right. So would you rather have a soundbar, like the best soundbar? I'll wait till you finish drinking.
Go
I
ahead.
don't want
I'm
you to
I'm
spit
listening.
out there.
Yeah.
All right. So the best soundbar
Okay.
or a 2.1 channel setup. So no surrounds,
Hmm.
no center even,
Yeah.
but you get to use any speakers you want
Yeah.
in those two channels and any
Yeah.
sub you want for that
Yeah.
point one.
Yeah. 2.1 any day.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
choose that too.
Yeah. I mean, the soundbar. All right. So some people will say, "Oh, soundbars are crap," and they do have a value. And the reason is not everybody has the same ability in their room. Some people don't have the option of putting big speakers in a living room. Maybe your wife or significant other says there's no way you're bringing these big old honking speakers in here. And so a sound bar sometimes makes a lot of sense. Maybe you're in an apartment, maybe you're setting it up in a bedroom, and those can sound, very nice. Definitely a step up, and sometimes a huge step up from just your TV speakers, because I've yet to find TV speakers that really sound good.
Well,
Most of them are pretty garbage.
I agree with you. I just, for the holidays, we were going to different family members' homes, and a lot of people had these big TVs,
Yeah,
nice, beautiful, expensive TVs, right? OLED TVs, and they were just using the TV speakers. So,
absolutely.
yeah, still something I have to work on, you know. I got to convince the family members to hop on some kind of soundbar. I
Yeah,
see somebody in the comment here saying that the Sonos soundbar is great for what it is, and I agree.
yeah,
I've tested the Beam. So John Landry, I do agree. I was expecting to hate that thing, but you know what? I was kind of impressed.
sure.
It did a good job of doing what it should do for the size. So, yeah, I think that's it. That's all I want for 2020 is I would
Yeah,
like to see that. Anything else? I think that's it. Of course,
got a
there's a
couple
lot
super
more, but
chats over here if you want to.
thank you, Rob E, always for the support.
Yeah,
He
man.
says integration with DTS Play, Fi, Hios, Yamaha Music. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. He's saying his wish list, right? And by the way, guys, I don't know if you see my shirt here, but I'm wearing this shirt that Rode sent me. Rode microphones, and I like it. It's gold. It's pretty cool.
I
And
thought that was your
just
gold play button, man.
I know, right? That's as close as I'm gonna get for right now. But
Might be a little bit, but we're working on it.
in a while. So
That's
here's the
right.
thing: is they sent this to me, but this is in no way sponsored by Rode. I'm actually doing a review of their new video mic NTG is a video I have coming up, but I also have a Synco mic. I don't know if you've seen the video I did with Deity microphones, so no bias here. I like them all. Anyway, I have to make sure to get that out of the way. But yeah, I think what we should do now is maybe I don't know if we should take some calls first. Do you want to take calls first, or you want to jump into the chat here and see what's up?
Either way, I was answering some questions over here. Rock Hurst had a question. He says, "How about a pre-pro 16.2 channel?" See what I was telling you? That's a lot of channels. 16.2 channel Denon with no onboard amps. So basically, we're talking about a pre-pro, but only RCA outs for below $1,000.
Oh, okay.
So part of that is getting a quality pre-pro under $1,000. That's pretty tough, to be honest with you. Even if they, don't put XLR outputs and just go with RCA, I think that would definitely be a challenge for any manufacturer, because they've got to make money at the end of the day, or they're not going to stay in business. So of course, as a consumer, man, that would be awesome. Who wouldn't want a 16.2 channel for under $1,000?
What's the
You know?
lowest price pre-pro that does Dolby Atmos decoding that you've
Oh
seen?
gosh, I don't know. Like the lowest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I kind of going back to one thing I just learned. I didn't think that Denon made pre-pros. Because when you look on their website, it just shows they have receivers.
Right.
And typically, if you want to go to a pre-pro in that kind of price point, you would go to Marantz,
Okay.
and they're kind of like, they're under the same umbrella with Sound United. But I found out that they actually have a huge market in the pre-pro, but it's overseas, so it's not in the United States.
So you
So
can't get it here officially?
I guess not. I mean, maybe you could order it and then use, that converter, the power converter, but um, there may be some other issues there as well. But they just don't have the market here. But I think from what I've kind of heard, possibly they may be trying to bring more hi-fi through Denon, which will be really exciting.
That would be cool. You want to hear something that's kind of odd? So
Hmm.
they sent the X4500H, and I had previously the Denon X4100H. I've also had the Marantz
Hmm.
SR7012, 7013, something like that. Forget. But I
There's a
prefer
7703.
7013
Okay,
or
gotcha.
something like that. 1 2. I don't remember. But I prefer the look of the Denon to the Marantz for me personally.
Yeah,
You
gotcha.
know, it doesn't look as fancy, like the menus don't have gold on them and stuff like that, but I
Yeah.
like the simple look of that Denon. It's just basic. I don't, the other Marantz has like that circle,
Hmm.
right? And then you have
Yeah,
to
the
actually
port.
open
What
up the
we call,
bottom to
yeah, we
see the
call it the
rest of the screen,
portal.
the
Yeah, the
portal.
portal doesn't really do much.
Yeah, and
It
then you
looks
have to
kind of
open it
cool, but
up to see the rest, right?
yeah,
Whereas the Denon, you could see the entire screen without having to open up the bottom section.
yeah,
So I prefer the look of the Denon myself.
yeah,
Let me throw this up here. I have
yeah.
the call-in questions, and let's see. I think I'm set up to take some calls. So anybody who wants to call in, usually one person will kick it off, and then it starts getting crazy from there.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
let's take 20 minutes or so and
Okay.
go ahead and answer some questions for anybody who's interested.
All
Go
right,
ahead and
cool.
pick up the phone, and let's
And
make
while
it
they're doing
happen here.
that, we'll go ahead and go through some of these comments.
Sure.
But feel free to call us, guys. 818-237-3030. Let's see. Okay, so can you is it Laszlo? Laszlo says, can you recommend good stereo speakers for movie dialogue? Is the center speaker necessary for that? And so I think what you're saying is, can you have good sound for movies and only use two speakers? And absolutely. And there's debate on whether or not some people say, oh, those speakers are good for music and these other speakers are great for movies. Um, to me, good speakers should be good speakers, you know, um, especially if they sound, if they're reproducing music accurately, then they're going to sound good. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Still getting over this cold. But I think you can get great sound from just two speakers.
And I would agree because if you think about it, they have to mix down any mix, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
have a movie that's Dolby Atmos, I don't care what the format is that it's capable of, they still have to have a mix for normal TV speakers, which are
Yeah.
just two speakers, right? So I think good speakers are just going to make it, good speakers should do vocals really well. So
Yeah.
I don't see why it wouldn't. And also,
Absolutely.
if you have it set up correctly, you should have a good phantom center image,
Yeah.
right? Where it sounds like you have a center speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say any decent system should be able to do that. Any particular recommendations, Michael?
I mean, my preference. I mean, I definitely would recommend a center channel, but again, everybody's system is different. Everybody's setup is different, and you may not have the ability. Um, okay, so that's the age old question. Which speakers should I buy? And honestly, I don't think if somebody just says, "Hey, you need to go buy this," I'm not sure that I could really just trust that, because the reality is your ears are going to hear differently than my ears and Joe's ears. Um, I've got these big old ears, and so they definitely hear different than Joe's.
I got big
But
ears too. So you know what? We both have a lot of reviews of
yeah,
bookshelf speakers, floor standing
hmm,
speakers. I think it's going
sure,
to depend on whether you want bookshelf or floor
right,
standing and what your
yep,
budget is, right? $500 speakers,
yeah.
$1,000
Budget's a big
pair of
part of that.
speakers, $200 pair of speakers.
Yep.
There's kind of like a consensus as far as what's best in those categories.
Hmm.
People start to land on the same few speakers, like
Hmm.
in the $500 pair bookshelf
Hmm.
speakers.
Yeah.
I think there's an agreement across the community that
Yeah.
Klipsch RP600Ms, even though I've never tried them, a lot of people seem to like those. The
Hmm.
ELAC UB5s in that price
Yeah. The
range,
Elacs are
boom.
huge.
right?
Yeah.
So
Great budget, but great sound.
I think it's hard to for everybody to be wrong,
Yeah.
and it just really depends on your space at the end of the day.
Sure. And my encouragement to each of you guys is to try to listen to as many different speakers as you can. And that way you can kind of find what your ears typically prefer. Because I think you will find a sound that you really like. Some of you may like a more laid back sound, and so you may be looking for a tweeter that has maybe like a soft dome tweeter, versus there may be somebody else that wants kind of more of a lively sound in your face, and maybe you're looking for like a compression horn loaded, tweeter. So there's just a bunch of different sounds out there, and I don't think there's one that's the best. Really, you need to find out what's best for you and for your sound and for your environment. But man, there's a lot of great options out there, guys. And even go check them out in used. Go on Craigslist, go on Facebook Marketplace, and just go listen to them. If nothing else, and if you like them, buy them. If you don't, at least you know what they sound like.
Thanks to Jerry. Thank you for
Absolutely.
the super chat there. He's saying, I'm hoping for a more affordable version of the
Ooh,
kaleidoscope for home theater. Have you played with that,
Kaleidoscape's
Michael?
pretty. Kaleidoscape's pretty awesome. I mean, I've
Kaleidoscape, sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's basically like um, think of it like a movie server. So you basically take all your media and it kind of catalogs it, and you pretty much it's like on demand. It's movies that you've purchased, and it stores it on a Kaleidoscape server. I've never actually had experience with it like in my own home. I've just seen some installers that have used that, and it looks slick, man. It's really really cool, but it does get pretty pricey.
Are those lossless, right? So the size of that file compared to like something that I would stream, let's say, I would imagine that the advantage is that the file size is huge,
Absolutely.
right?
So they're going to have
So no
huge.
loss in quality versus, anytime we stream something, although it looks great, I don't think that it's the same as watching a Blu-ray disc, right?
Yeah, even the title of their website says Kaleidoscape Luxury Home Cinema Experience. So that's the clientele, that's the market that they're shooting for. And so for them to try to come out with an affordable, budget-friendly version, that's really just not their target audience. They're looking for these high-end home theaters, somebody that's got quite a bit, invested in their setup. And so I was trying to look and see
I
what
think
they
they have to
offer
be
here.
careful though because, well, I would say this. I don't think it's just the technology of being able to download and stream. I think they
Hmm.
have probably licensing deals with these companies that they've
Yeah,
made
sure.
to allow you to download the full version. And I think that's maybe where the cost comes in. If I were to guess, I don't know. Thank
Yeah, they
you
have
to
some.
Robert Weisinger. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate your support.
Now
Thank you.
they'll support the 4K, um, HD up to 100 megabits a second and 60 frames per second. So there are some limitations there, but it seems like they can store. Some of these are storing up to like 300 movies on a 12 terabyte, and then they even have like a 40 terabyte.
Let's see here.
So
More
yeah, so they make
questions.
some pretty cool stuff.
What is this here? Brooks Latimer says, I take how good those are to the Andrew Pioneers that run 160 repair and the 560 isn't justified. I'm not sure what is it. I
I'm
think
not.
there's a conversation here going on.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. He may be
Compare with the
replying to somebody.
$700 speakers. Okay. All right. There's a lot of catching up. There's a lot going on here in the chat.
Yeah, no
I
doubt.
again, I think if you want to call in, I think we're set up to go. Boom. There's the number.
Look,
818-237-3030. So if you want to call in, you'll be here on the show. Let's see. Call in with your questions. In the meantime, let's try to knock out some of these questions here in the chat too.
D Tasca says that Youth Man loved the sweet spot of the Vanitus. That'd be great in a 2.1 channel system. To me, I reviewed the Vanitus and they sounded fantastic. To me, if you were doing it like in a living room setup, to me they weren't as ideal. It'd be more of a kind of
I
like
agree with
very
that.
close.
We got a call coming in.
Cool.
You're on the air.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name?
Danny.
What's going on, Danny? Where are you
I
calling
show up as
from?
the Tasca. I'm calling from
Z-Task.
Toronto, Canada.
Oh,
Oh, all
awesome,
right.
man. Welcome.
Cool, man. What's
Thank you. Thank you.
what's going on?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear
Oh,
you.
not much. Just watching the show. Watching the show. I enjoy all three of you, or all four of you, actually. Two are missing tonight, but I always watch the show.
Hey,
Right,
man,
right.
appreciate the support.
You
You
got
got
No
a
problem.
question
Thank
tonight?
you.
you have a question, and keep in
I
mind
did.
also we have a delay, so if there's a pause
Yeah.
between us talking, just know that it's just a delay.
Okay. Yep, not a problem. I just want to ask you if you have ever reviewed network players. Are you going to in the future, or is that something you're interested in?
I personally haven't reviewed any network player. Now, are you talking about like
Streaming network players.
What? Give us an example. What you mean?
Apple TV, or are
It's
you talking
basically
something more?
an all-in-one, an amplifier, and it'll stream internet, I guess internet channels, and
Okay.
it's usually at high quality as well because it's got internal DACs that are usually of high quality.
Which ones
Gotcha.
have you been looking at? Because there's a few
Um,
products that kind of fit that bill.
NAD has one. Yeah, NAD has one. Name has one. They're quite popular lately.
Now, is that the
Right.
one that Ron's got in for review?
I think that one might also that M10 might have it.
Is it the
So here's the
M10?
thing is, a lot of products kind of fit that category. So even this $35 Chromecast audio kind of does exactly what you're saying, right? So it streams directly from the internet. It's not going from your phone
Right.
to that. It's
Hmm.
pulling directly
Yeah.
from the internet, and it does have its own built-in DAC. Now, for $35, I wouldn't imagine that the DAC in there is very good. And according to Audio Science Review is a website that reviews that sort of stuff, and they do measurements. And the Chromecast doesn't rate extremely high, but it does fit that bill. Um, Another thing that I would say is a lot of the AVRs now do have that functionality. So, the
That's
Denon
right.
that I have has Hios as their brand, and you can
Yeah.
plug in a bunch of the services that you have on your phone and play something, and you're just using your phone more as a remote. It's not going from your phone to the receiver, right? Like if you threw your
Yeah.
phone afterwards,
Yeah.
the music would still play. So,
Yeah,
um,
I have an old integrated amplifier, and I have an HiFi DAC hooked up to it, so
okay.
it receives Bluetooth information, and that sounds much better than if it was just playing from the phone.
Right.
So I guess that's sort of the idea, but it's an all-in-one unit.
Right. So that takes in Bluetooth and it acts as a DAC.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically what Ron is going to be reviewing shortly.
Yeah, that M10.
Yeah, yeah. This basically the unit. I just thought maybe if you would be doing that in the future as well.
I'm always open to all types of different product reviews. I like to challenge
Yeah, it's
myself and
just
review
interesting to
something that's different.
yeah, it's interesting to get different opinions, like yourself and Ron. You might have similarities, but you might also have some differences too.
Wh-
Absolutely.
what else you got, Michael? Have you tested any of those out on the Marantz and Denon units? Have you ever tried the streaming functionality on those?
I
No, I
do.
haven't.
I have a 7,000.
Go ahead.
Oh, I have a 7,005, so it's a little older,
Mhm.
but it does have some internet capability. So
Nice.
I do stream through that, but I also stream through what I have. I have the I'm trying to think of the name now; it just doesn't come to mind. It's basically a video streamer as well, and
Mhm.
I've got one of the apps that streams music.
The interface on the Denon and Marantz, I have to say though, when you go to the
Kinda
online,
clunky.
it's kind of rough.
Mhm.
You Denon and Marantz Sound United guys,
Yeah.
you guys got to work on that a little bit. That interface looks
Yeah.
pretty rough. It
And I've
looks
never,
kind of rough.
when
Yeah,
I
for sure.
first got one of them, I tried to use it, and I'm like, it's not that exciting. I mean, it works, but
Oh
oh,
yeah,
Techno Dad just joined
Techno
us.
Dad's in the house. Well,
Cool.
hopefully that answers your question.
Oh, thanks so
Y-
much. Yeah, it does.
I'll keep an
Yeah, and
eye
you
out
guys
for
have a
some of
great
those
show.
things, and if something comes in, I'll be more likely to say yes after your call.
Okay, thanks so much.
All right, take care.
Take
Whoop. Yeah, man. Yeah, that the interface on that streaming
Yeah.
part is pretty rough, huh? very pixelated. 1 second here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull something up over here. 1 second.
All right, guys. While he's doing that, I'm gonna look over here in the comments.
All
John
right.
Landry's interested in the Mini DSP 2. That's something that I've just never. I've got one in for review. The Mini DSP. It's the 2x4 HD, and so man, honestly, it looks intimidating. And so I've got a lot to learn on that. So
All right. So I wanted to show you guys this. Um, whoa, what's going on? Lots of stuff. So here's the deal: is when Cali Audio sent these LP6s, they also sent this Bluetooth input module. It just kind of reminded me when the with that call, that last call. So this is a Bluetooth input module, but it accepts XLR, or it outputs to XLR or TRS, which is a little bit different. And it also has its own volume control. So kind of related to that last question, and I think it's just interesting because their idea is like if you're in a studio situation, a lot of times somebody might come in and say, "Hey, can you play this song?"
yeah.
Hold on, let me get something to connect to your phone. Oh, I don't have a headphone jack. Uh, uh. So now there's a way to connect Bluetooth to studio monitors. Pretty cool. I'm gonna have to check this out. I haven't hooked it up yet. Anyway, what else we got here? In the anything in the chat that we need to address?
I'm just reading through some of them, replying.
All right. So yeah, the phone line's still open here. If you want to give us a call, that was a cool. That sounded pretty clear.
Absolutely, man.
What
You
else we
guys got
have
any
here?
any questions, or even just want to call and chat? Give us a call.
I see some stuff. Oh, you said I have a mini DSP 2x4.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have the HD.
Yeah.
I haven't played with the HD. I want to play with that one. I think can
Yeah.
you upgrade that one to Dirac Live?
I don't think so.
Are you sure? Because I remember there's a few different versions, one with and without, and I'm pretty sure that this 2x4 HD is
So to allow
capable
you,
of Dirac.
really?
You might have to just pay, but it's pretty
Okay,
cool. It has the
gotcha.
Shark processors. Oh, we got
All
a
right,
call coming in.
interesting. Go ahead.
You're on the air.
Hey, this is Rob Weisinger. Hey,
Hey.
Hey,
got a
Rob.
question. I am looking at updating some older Sherborne equipment,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and I don't know which way to go. I got the multi-processor. I got a PT72, the 7020,
Okay.
a real nice processor, of course, with a 7 mono amp.
Okay.
Now, everything sounds nice. I am going into some ELACs, some Dolus Vitas,
Which Elex?
but I'm some Dolus Vitas. They're pretty old. They got the dome top tweeters, all 360 surround on the tweeters.
Okay.
Really enjoy it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm looking at something more for the processor side. And I work for like a Fox news agency. We do a lot of production work,
Okay.
and so I was also watching all your podcasts and your builds. And I was getting into some of those do-it-yourself kits, which really sound great.
Mm-hmm.
Which ones in particular?
Production. I think they are the Dynas.
Dynas?
Uh, yeah,
Oh, those are the ones that I helped design.
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool, man.
And that's what I do. I mean, all day long we're building stuff and putting studios together. But I want to put this in our production area, kind of like a slight surprise from what they have. Do you think those would be fairly nice in those areas?
You're talking about the Dynas?
Yeah, not my Elax. They can't have those.
In the production area, is this like made for like do they require like reference? Is it like a reference
No,
place or
not
just for
really.
enjoyment?
It's yeah. It's as they're doing the news, they cut to the commercial. Next thing you know, it's a disco going on.
Oh,
It
is it?
just rocks in there. You don't get to see it, but it's a fun thing to watch.
That's awesome.
And oh yeah. And I got some guys that just really love their music.
Well, I would say for fun, I don't think you can beat the Dynas for their size and the amount of bass they produce. They're definitely
Pretty budget
fun,
friendly too, right?
fun. Yeah, you can if you're handy with building stuff, then the price of the parts is not too expensive. So I would say when it comes to fun, those are some of the funnest speakers. Like they're hilarious. Like the amount of bass coming out of them makes you laugh, right? But
Wow.
I wouldn't say they're for reference level, it's not the most accurate speaker that you can find. I'm pretty sure these LP6s are way more accurate, and that's why I have them here at my desk because I need accuracy for editing video and stuff like that. So I think for fun though, I think the Dynas are fun.
Would this be a good starting point to kind of realize how to do the build?
Uh, to realize what exactly, how to do the builds?
Yeah, to take my time and learn it, to maybe upgrade to something better.
Uh,
Would that be a
I'm
good starting DIY speaker?
Yeah, I think it's good because it gives you an idea of the thought process behind it, why we chose that particular driver, why we use that particular plate amp. We have videos you know, about the build process, 123 Toyed and myself. And so I think that's a good place to start is to try to figure out the thought process. So for us, we started with a
Well,
subwoofer build, and then we added a mid-range and a tweeter to it because we wanted the most bass out of a pair of bookshelf speakers. So depending on what your goal is, you sometimes you want to do stuff like that where you kind of work backwards. Does that make sense? Like
are you going to get
finding.
back to?
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Were you going to get back to building the flat packs again, or that's coming back out?
Oh, so 123 Toy actually moved recently, and I think I saw something where he said he's offering that, and he actually offered the first complete build of some speakers. Uh, I
Mm-hmm.
I think you should follow his channel and you can message him. He's pretty quick at responding. But the funny thing
Okay.
is, the first person to buy the pair of Dynas was actually
Right.
someone who was showing the speakers at where was that? Rocky Mountain Audio Fest. So we had a bunch of volunteers that were helping us show those speakers in the budget room. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the volunteers was so impressed, he was the first one to buy a pair. So that was kind of cool.
Isn't that kind of cheating? I mean, really?
What do you
To be
mean?
the first? He got free the first one there.
What-
He cheated. He didn't let anybody else get there. That's great news, though.
Yeah,
That
no,
is it.
I'm hoping he starts selling a lot more of those. Good for him. I think that's awesome. I was just there
Yeah,
to
it
kind of
really is.
help with the thought process of building it, and he's the mastermind of making sure that all the parts work together. So, yeah. Hope.
All right. Well, hey, thank you all for your time.
Oh yeah, thanks for calling in.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you calling in.
I
Have a
got
happy New Year.
I got to be at work at 4.
All right,
Oh,
happy
no.
New
Get
Year.
going. All right. You take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Awesome stuff, man. Appreciate the
That's
call. Hey,
that's
Joe, we
awesome.
got a question here from Stanny1.
Let me
It's near the bottom there.
get over
So it
here.
says, I know Techno Dad has at least 2 other day jobs. The Michael and Joe exist solely off of YouTube. Good question,
Partially
man. Good
true,
question.
partially true, right?
Yeah.
Um,
So go
I
ahead.
don't know if you want to start off and say what else you do.
Either way. So Youth Man actually comes from being a youth pastor for 23 years. And then for the past year, I ended up resigning from the church that I was serving at and took a position as a communication specialist at a nonprofit. So I was doing graphic design, website design, video editing, photography, social media, all different types of things with the communication team there. It was probably about 5 of us on that team. And as of this past Friday, I resigned from that. And so I'm now doing content creation on YouTube full time, as well as pursuing my business that I've had since 2004 in graphic design, web design, logo design, and so forth. So as of right now, I'm full entrepreneur and just doing this full time. So, but yeah,
Woo, woo.
excited, man.
Yeah.
2020 is going to be rocking.
Oh yeah, that means more
Yeah.
videos for you guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. So
Uh,
just trying to,
so for me, this is my primary source of income, my
yeah.
primary job. I also have an online website with digital downloads for presets, for Lightroom and for Final Cut Pro, LUTs and stuff like that. So I do make an income off of that sort of stuff. But primarily, I'm just an entrepreneur, so I like to
Yeah,
do different types of businesses. I haven't
sure.
worked for anybody in like 20 years. So this is not new to me. Um, yeah, I just enjoy trying something new. I always just follow what I'm passionate about, what I enjoy, what I think is fun, and I let the money follow, right?
Yeah,
Most of the time, I've been lucky enough where the money does follow, but I'm not chasing the money
yeah,
100%. When I first started this channel, I was making negative money, and then, you start breaking even, and that's great because you're not losing money. And then at a certain point, you start making some money, which is kind of cool too,
sure.
because it helps you continue. It's hard to keep losing money and
Yeah,
continue, right? I
yeah,
can't do that. I don't know, but yeah, I'm able to do this continuously, and yeah, it's going well so far, and I'm happy.
yeah,
And I just told these guys the other day, we're always talking, and I was just like, we have the coolest job. You
yeah.
know what I
No
mean?
doubt.
We get to review products that we enjoy reviewing. I like making videos. I like editing,
Hmm.
and I like talking to you guys. And
Yeah,
we make a living doing this. This is pretty awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think Dave Ramsey, he once said, figure out what you're passionate at and figure out a way to make money doing it, and you'll be successful. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think so many people chase dollars, and they make a lot of money, but they don't enjoy what they do. It's a job. Um,
Yeah,
and
I
then
don't
there's
get
some
that.
people that are passionate about something, but they don't make a lot of money, but they're extremely happy, and that's awesome. But if you can figure out a way to make what you're passionate at and make that a living and figure out a way to sustain your income as a family, man, that's an incredible joy. And I've loved home theater since probably I was 12 years old, back when Dolby Pro Logic came out. As a young guy, probably in my, man, how old would I have been? Maybe like 21. I was working at Circuit City.
You did
And
too?
so,
Are you
oh
serious?
yeah,
I
oh
didn't
yeah,
know that because I worked at
yep,
Circuit City too, but I
yep,
was in the computer department.
yeah. I was
Where
over in
were you
home
at?
audio. I was in home
Oh,
audio.
okay.
Yeah, back when the do you remember talking about technology? What was it? Oh my goodness. It was kind of like the first. All right, so you know how we used to take regular cassette tapes and record to those?
Okay, yeah.
Like at night you'd have your
Dub.
fingers on the play and record button. You'd be listening to the radio and be like click, and you're recording.
Yeah.
What was the format right after that came out? It was like these little cassette not mini DVD, mini disc.
Mini disc.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think JVC was the one that came out with that. It had a little CD player on one side and the mini disc recorder. Trying to get it in the camera.
Yeah,
Mini
yeah.
disc recorder on this side. Yeah. So we had those and the 200 CD changers and DVD changers. So absolutely. Hey,
Shauna's
Techno
asking
Dad
what's
was
the call-in number,
yeah
and there it is right
yeah. If
there.
you There you go, Chana.
So,
I think
so
we're gonna have a special guest call in, Chana.
all right, here
Do
we go. You're on the air. What's
Hey,
up?
what's going on, man? You are way in the background. Can you
Let
hear
me
him,
let
Joe?
me let me turn you up a little bit here.
Hang on a second, brother.
Go ahead. Who's this?
Rob
What?
E. Robbie,
Rob
I
E.
can
Hey, how's it
barely hear
going?
you.
How's it going, dude? Sorry, man. I'm on Bluetooth in my car driving.
Ah, okay.
Gotcha.
Well,
Okay,
drive
we'll do our
safely.
best. We'll try to
I asked
repeat your
you about,
question.
thanks. I asked you about the whole like bass EQ on your mini DSP, and the main reason is like for the past like as long as I can remember, all these movies being released on like 4K Blu-ray, the audio is just neutered big time compared to the actual release you see in the actual theater. So I was hoping maybe in the near future they would release something that's kind of like they're doing with the whole visual, the whole like director's cut. You know what I'm saying? Not director's cut. It's something like like IMAX where they want the colors to be what the director intended
Mhm.
for. I forget the actual the wording. I know Techno Dad touched on it on the last podcast, and I was hoping that there would be something like that for audio. So honestly, when these movies come out, most people at home have sound bars, or they just use the built-in speakers in the actual TV, so you can't have full high dynamic range. in your tiny ass little 3-inch built-in speakers, so they obviously have to neuter the audio. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know what? I think I know what you're talking about here. Is even if you have a Blu-ray disc and you have Dolby Atmos set up, it's still made for home, right? It's not the original
Correct.
mix for the movie theater. And I think that's what IMAX Enhanced is promising. Now I do have a IMAX Enhanced capable receiver, and I do have an IMAX Enhanced demo disc. And I can tell you right now, that
Yeah.
sounds way different. I was talking to Michael about this the other day. That sounds way different to me than any other Blu-ray disc with Dolby Atmos that I've ever heard. Like, it sounds like the back speakers and the height speakers, like they're actually doing something, right? I feel like there's more low frequencies coming through those speakers when I'm popping in that IMAX Enhanced disc versus, you know, any Dolby Atmos disc that I have. So I have Gravity and I have all these ones that you guys have recommended, and they sound cool, but like I think you said it straight up. You said it sounds neutered, right?
Oh
And,
yeah.
and that's how I kind of feel about most of those. And I thought it was just my system, to be honest. I thought like, maybe I gotta upgrade my speakers. But then when I heard that IMAX Enhanced disc, I was like, oh, okay, so they can pump out some tunes out of those speakers. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, it
So
was
that
crazy.
means Michael has Michael's got to test that out because he's got that mini DSP, and with that you can upload bass EQ files. So you
Hmm.
go to, I think it's on like on ABS forms or Audio Karma. There's a
Okay.
whole like Excel database where they have all these files. Like let's say for Godzilla, it's King of the Monsters. You can download
Gotcha.
that file, upload it to your mini DSP, and it's gonna
Hmm.
boost up your LFE. It's gonna boost up, everything on your mini DSP. It'll EQ everything specifically for that movie
Interesting.
that was intended in the actual theater. You know,
Gotcha.
That's
so that'd be kind
interesting.
of cool. Hey Michael, what pre-pro are you using now? Does that have IMAX on it?
Yes, the pre-pro I've got is the AV7705 Marantz, so it does support IMAX
Yeah,
Enhanced.
so that I'm pretty sure that's IMAX. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that'd be kind of cool in your future movie, your future YouTube video once you dive into mini DSP. If you could compare that your
Okay.
IMAX, Blu-ray compared to one that's non-IMAX, but with the base EQ file loaded on there, and see
Gotcha.
if IMAX is really worth it.
That's
Mm.
awesome. Well, cool. I didn't know about that.
Interesting. Bass EQ
Yeah. Well,
with a
thanks for
mini
your time, guys.
DSP.
I
Hey,
gotta run.
hey, thank you
Awesome,
for your
man.
continued
Love all your
support. I
content, man.
appreciate you.
Hey, man. Have a great
Later,
night.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Cool. So, yeah, it's funny, Michael, that we're
Hmm.
talking about IMAX Enhanced the other day.
Right. Yeah.
And I
Literally
was
just
just
what, two
saying
nights ago.
how you're I asked you like, hey, did you notice what I'm noticing? You're like, no, not really,
Hmm.
but you have a different version than I
I have
have.
I have a pre-release. So before, like right as IMAX Enhanced was just announcing that, I was sent an IMAX Enhanced disc from IMAX. And so honestly, it just wasn't. I've got a video on my channel, and it just wasn't that exciting. But it's
Oh
a
no.
totally different.
Should I take this one? This is from Chana De
That may be
Silva.
John. I know it.
I don't know if I should take this one.
Oh, this might be sketchy, guys. Here we go.
Uh, hello? Hold
Hello,
on.
you're on
I
there.
got-
Hello.
Hello?
Hey. Hello.
Yeah. Oh, what's up, man? Are you talking from your
What's
from
going on, fella?
are you talking
What's
from
going on,
your
China?
SM7B? Because this is the clearest I've ever heard you sound.
You know it.
What's up,
Nice.
bro?
What's up? What are we talking about here? I heard something about laser disc, mini disc. What's up?
I don't
What's
know
shaking?
what in the chat have we missed that we should talk about? How about that?
Oh goodness, let me look here.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
because
asking
are you
Chana
still
because
driving?
Chana's in there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, well, I can't look in the chat and talk, but do you remember those talking points you kind of like sent us over,
Yes.
Yep.
yesterday or today?
Yep.
There were two of them.
One of the things. Which one is that?
Well, the two questions that I asked, like, what's something that you learned recently, and then the second one, like, what's something you're looking forward to in 2020?
Yeah. All right. So what have I learned recently about this audio and HiFi thing?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, and I really like the sound of these Martin Logan electrostatic speakers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what I've learned is since I've been with
I've been on the Klipsch train since like I don't know, it was like '92 or something,
Sure.
92, '93, and I feel like I need to hear more speakers that have different materials,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
You know, like I want to hear some of these. You know, Focal makes those aluminum magnesium tweeters. You know,
Mhm.
beryllium tweeters. Just
Right.
more. I think that would help me evaluate speakers more if I have more experience with different
Beryllium,
materials.
yeah, go
You know.
do it, man. I think you've been wanting those focals for a while, and I think you should do it. Those focal studio monitors.
Oh, those things. Oh yeah, those things are expensive stuff.
That's
I
just
think you
right up
The
your
only
alley, right
problem.
there, bro. And another material that you need to try out is the 802Ds Diamond, the B&Ws, bro.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
Come
yeah,
on.
the BMWs. Well, it's funny because like Klipsch is or Corey's sending me some really really big Klipsch speakers.
Okay.
Hopefully they'll get here this week. Otherwise, they're just going to be sitting around because I'll be at CES.
Right.
And I think they're the Cornwall 4s or something like that.
Okay.
And they're pretty large. They're not like your La Scalas, Mike, but they're still pretty large.
Absolutely. You're talking about the Cornwalls?
Cornwalls, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty big. I've heard one set of Cornwalls, I think it was the Cornwall 2s, probably about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago in somebody's home. They're pretty beefy. Got a lot of bottom end. A lot of guys will combine a La Scala because La Scala has the top end of the Klipsch horn, so it has the same tweeter in the mid range, but the bottom end honestly just sucks. It just there's not a. I say it sucks. It doesn't have a lot of slam. The bass that it
Right,
does
not enough
reproduce,
impact for you.
yeah, the bass that it does reproduce is very clean and low distortion. There's just not a ton of it, so you definitely need a good subwoofer. So some people will kind of make a hybrid out of a La Scala and a Cornwall, and they call it a Corn Scala. And so it's kind of like a mix. So they take
Corn
the bass.
Scala.
They do.
What?
Yeah, Google it. It's called a Corn Scala. So they basically take the horn and the tweeter, or the mid range and the tweeter from the La Scala, combine it with the bass of the Cornwall, and just
Cornwall.
killer combination. But yeah, I think you need to check out some of the Salk Audio, man. I heard those one time. They were sweet.
Oh yeah, I've talked to that guy.
Which one?
Yeah, they're beautiful. Salk, SALK. Absolutely gorgeous speakers.
Oh,
They've got some beautiful like wood. I don't even know if it's wood veneer, if it's just real wood, but they're gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Well, what I'm experiencing with these, who's that other joker that's on with us all the time? What is his name? Don? Is it Don?
Ron. I think it's Ron. I think it's Ron. Pretty sure, yeah.
Clown.
Ron, right. New record day.
Yeah.
Right, that's right. That guy keeps talking about downstage and how speakers disappear. And like that's kind of what I'm experiencing with these Martin Logans. And I think the other part about it is like it's not a big box.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't look like a speaker. I mean, I have the RF7 3s, and those things are like pretty beefy. Like, even the depth of the box, like you can tell they're speakers.
Mm-hmm.
And they take up room in the room, they take up space. But these Martin Logans, they kind of don't. And they just disappear. Like my wife and I have been binge watching that Marvelous Mrs. Maisel or whatever, Maisel, on Prime Video. Great show. And like, I don't see speakers at all.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I don't even notice. We get all the dialogue, we get all the music.
Sure.
So that's kind of interesting. I didn't think they'd have that kind of effect, or they just blend into the background. And I mean, they look cool, and they're just not a big ass box.
Maybe you gotta try some open baffle speakers that like Ron's always talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open baffle. Maybe you'll like something like that.
Maybe. I had that demo of the Wisdom Audio, which were like planar or planner. I don't know how you pronounce it. Planar, maybe.
Yeah.
Those magnetic drivers, which is just a panel. So yeah, I'm interested into checking out like a lot more, just different types of materials and like speaker design stuff, just to check it out, see what's out there, because I might like something more than what I've been using for the last 20 years.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Hey,
You never know.
before you
right?
go, before you run, here's a question from Jerry, and I think you're the best to answer this. He asks, how do you
Yeah.
feel about the visual war between Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus? Will we always have two versions, or do you think one will win over the other? I think you've made videos
Mm,
about this sort of
yeah.
stuff, but go ahead and like answer that one real quick.
Okay. So I think, I think a lot of these TV manufacturers are really, really arrogant, and a lot of them are full of themselves.
Mm,
Panasonic, for instance, won't do Dolby Vision because they believe they can do better color than Dolby.
right.
Is it that or a
Um,
licensing fee thing?
no, because like the OLED, Panasonic makes OLEDs, but they don't sell them here in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
Canada, Europe, whatever, UK. And they support HDR and HDR10 and HDR10 Plus. LG won't support HDR10 Plus, but they support HDR10, Dolby Vision, and Technicolor, along with HLG, which is like a broadcast HDR, which most TVs can do. And then Samsung will only do HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and HLG. So like they are all kind of like, well, no, we can do it better. Oh no, we can do it better than you guys. Like it's just
Yeah.
this like
It's like a peeing
who's
contest.
got the bigger dick kind of situation. Like they can all do it better than the other one. So it's kind of like I find it annoying because as a consumer, like if there's content out there that I want to watch that's in one of these formats, I want to make sure I have it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
make a
Right.
prediction. Which one's gonna win? HD DVD
I
or
think
Blu-ray? No, just kidding. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh man, I would say if I had to pick one, it would be Dolby Vision because it's just so out there and everybody knows about it.
Yep.
Like even just people that have random like Apple TV 4Ks and they don't really care about this stuff,
Sure.
they have it.
And
and they
it's the
see
coolest
it.
name too, right?
Okay, Chana, so I got a question
Yeah.
regarding that. How come we don't? All right, so see, you guys are like going, oh man, this Dolby Vision and this HDR10, and I've yet to really experience Dolby Vision because my projector,
Right.
I've got the Epson
Projector.
5040 UB. Are there even any
Mm-hmm.
projectors out there that are even remotely affordable that are supporting Dolby Vision? And if they, why aren't
Actually,
they?
even the most expensive projectors that are like $20,000
Mhm.
aren't doing any Dolby
They don't
Vision.
have it.
It's all
So-
HDR10.
Why is that?
Yeah, so I would think that there's maybe the implementation of a dynamic metadata for
Mhm.
HDR content is
Okay.
just too difficult
Gotcha.
right now with projectors, or
Mhm.
probably way too expensive to do so.
Yeah.
I would think that maybe Barco would start
Okay.
doing it first,
Yeah.
and those are
Real
like
high
$40,000 to $50,000 projectors.
Really, really high
Yeah,
end.
super high end, and then it'll like trickle down. But for the most part, I don't see any kind of dynamic metadata HDR going into projectors anytime soon.
And
Especially
You know what I
anything
think?
in the like $3,000 to $5,000 range.
You know what I think would help propel that is when Technodad gets a projector in his setup. I think they'd be like, guys, we've got to make this happen.
Yeah, man.
Oh, you guys are great. Hey, if I do get, I do like that new JVC laser 4K HDR10 projector.
Yeah.
And if it does happen, then I'll definitely do a comparison video about the two situations.
Mhm.
So
Cool, man.
definitely on my radar.
Yeah.
Well, we'll
Very
see.
cool,
We'll
man.
see what happens. We'll see what happens. Well,
You never
hey,
know.
we'll
2020
talk
is
to you
gonna be
in
a big year, man.
about like an hour.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
usual.
Yeah,
All right, man.
we'll talk later.
All right.
For
Hey,
sure.
thanks for calling in.
You
Drive
guys
safe,
have a
brother.
great stream.
All right.
Yeah,
Take
talk
care.
to you later.
All right.
All right, man.
bye.
Peace, everyone.
Well, I always have to cut somebody off.
Exactly.
Well, cool.
Might as well be Chana.
We're about an hour in here,
Yeah.
so let me just. I feel like we've been ignoring some of the chat.
Yeah, let's jump over
It's just
here.
going way too crazy here, and we're trying to reach everybody. But Boom. James says,
JVC, they may have dynamic metadata, but JVC still doesn't support the Dolby Vision, and I just find it interesting that, that we kind of, as the guys that have dedicated theater rooms, seems like we kind of get um, not
shafted.
shafted, but you know what I mean. It's like, man, I want to enjoy that Dolby Vision that everybody's been talking about, but at least right now we don't have that option.
You know what I think it is also, Michael, is,
Hmm.
I'm a projector person too.
Yeah.
And I think it's that our projectors don't really have the capability, the nits, the brightness,
Hmm.
and the contrast ratios to be able to show all of that. So a lot of times I think they have to apply a lot of that tone mapping to make sure that it looks at least normal
Hmm.
on our projectors. But
Yeah.
I think the limitation is really the projector and the brightness and the contrast ratios. I think I
But you
might
would
be
think that
wrong.
like the really high, kind of like Chana was saying, those really high end projectors, why can't they include that for them? These guys that have, hundreds of thousands of dollars to drop in a dedicated theater room, hook them up,
I'm wondering
and then
if those super bright Barco projectors though still have the enough like the black levels are
yeah,
low enough because
I
when
don't
you're
know.
hitting light on something,
Sure.
that light's gonna want to scatter, right?
Yeah,
It's not the same as uh an OLED. But what do I know? Have you played around with HDR on your projector?
I
Like, what do
have
you
a
think
little
about it?
bit. Yeah. Interestingly enough, I had a guy come over and we were kind of going through some of the settings in it and we're playing with it and it's still not like amazing. I think there's still a difference with HDR and HDR10 on a projector versus like an OLED. It's not quite the same. I mean, you guys that have these great TVs, colors on that are stinking amazing. And not to say that the projectors they don't have a great picture, but it's still not the level. But for me, I would much rather have that huge immersive experience, from a 150-inch screen over a higher picture quality on even a 85 or 75-inch, TV.
Yes. Okay. So what did you watch and what did you notice was the difference when you were watching in
Oh
HDR?
gosh, this has been a while back. It's probably been, I don't know, 8 months ago.
Okay.
I don't even remember what we were trying to remember. What was that?
Because I've been playing around with it because my the new AVR that they sent over to me does have HDR support. Even
Yeah.
though my projectors had HDR,
Mm-hmm.
it was working when I had the Marantz in, but then I sent that one back.
Mm-hmm.
So finally I get to watch HDR content. So I was playing around watching different things. Mandalorian's not officially HDR, so that doesn't really count.
Mm-hmm.
But been messing around with different movies to see what I've noticed, and it's just for me richer colors,
Yeah.
right? Like especially the reddish orange looking colors, they just really pop out.
Mm-hmm.
And on some movies, it actually looks worse. Like my
Yeah.
wife was watching Noel, that
Yep.
Disney Plus exclusive Christmas movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked really fake.
Yeah.
Like that looks worse. Like I'd turn
Like
that
almost
color down.
oversaturated.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if that was a,
Mm-hmm.
a tone mapping issue or if it's just the movie. I have a
Yeah.
feeling it's just a movie. But how about this? Is your phone OLED? I'm just
Is my
wondering, like,
phone? Nah, man, I'm rocking an old school iPhone 8.
okay, all right. Yeah, I think the 10 is when they started doing OLED. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think you can get an idea what the black levels look like if you have a OLED,
Right.
TV, a phone. Most phones are OLED. So I think if you have any of those things, you kind of get an idea what it's like to have, good black levels on there.
Sure.
What other questions we have here?
Let's look here. I was looking at that one.
Maybe I'll choose Zoe Vision content. I don't. So HDR plus is that
Hmm.
dynamic metadata? I don't know. We need Chana up in here to answer these
Yeah, he
questions.
he definitely is expert on the different formats on TVs.
Any other questions here? Because if not, we're gonna wrap up pretty quickly here.
All right,
Trying
so
to
it's like James says, does the Panasonic UB820 HDR optimizer, is it as good as a DV?
where is that? This one here.
Yeah,
Have you messed with that?
I haven't. So I've only got I've only really had one um, UHD player, and that's the Pioneer
Okay.
LX500.
I'm always curious about those optimizers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember the old Oppos used to have something. I forgot what the name was. I'm sure you guys, those Oppo owners, know what I'm talking about. But it was a some kind of like video optimizer, and
Like built into the Oppo.
yeah, and a lot of
Hmm.
people claim that like, hey, this looks a lot better. And actually, the new NVIDIA Shield TV, NVIDIA Shield, the 2019 version,
Hmm.
has an AI optimizer. So they're supposedly using artificial intelligence to know
Gotcha.
what's on the screen and to
Right.
enhance certain things on there. I thought that might be interesting. It's kind of like an upscaler, right?
Hmm.
But I'm always curious if those are damaging the image quality.
Yeah. And the best thing to do is just try it. Try it, see what it looks like, and then let your eyes be the determining factor whether or not it works.
Yeah. Here we go. James says HDR plus is dynamic. HDR's metadata, dynamic metadata is HDR10 plus and DV. Thanks for the great content this year. Thank you, M. Patogo, for always being in
Appreciate it,
here.
bro.
Thank you for your support. Looking good, by the way, in your profile photo. Hair's on point, too. Panasonic players
Nice.
have HDR optimizer.
Gotcha. So maybe
Well,
that's something kind of proprietary to them, you
maybe.
think, or do other ones have it as well? You mentioned the Oppo has them or had
Ye-
them.
Yeah, I forgot what that one was called. I'm pretty sure somebody in here is gonna be like, it's this. I'll
Anybody
tell you.
know
Let me see.
the
I'm sure
Oppo?
a
Did it
quick
have an
Google search will do it.
optimizer?
I gotta figure it out. I'm one
All
of
right,
those guys
it's
who's
gonna
like
it's gonna bug you all night, man. He
optimizer.
won't be able to go to
Yep.
sleep until he figures out what the
It's
Oppo
probably super
had
old.
on
Let's
there.
see. Uh,
If
let's see
anybody
if you
knows,
guys,
drop it down in the chat.
if
I'll let
somebody
him know.
finds it before me here. Oppo.
First one to find it, Joe will give them a set of mica speakers.
I don't know if I have any mica speakers to send out.
So I'm just kidding.
Um, come on.
Hey Patrick, appreciate the compliment, sir.
Uh,
Really enjoy hanging
I
out
don't
with you
know.
guys.
I guess Techno Dad will have to tell me later on what it is. But dang. Anyway,
Good
anyway,
stuff, man.
anyway. Yeah, I think that's it for today.
Yeah,
We've answered
we're
some
about an
questions
hour and
here. We
hour
got
and 12 minutes. Got a
yeah, we
couple
got some
phone calls
calls in.
tonight.
Hopefully our audio is decent on this one. We're still
Yeah,
trying to
somebody was
figure
saying
that out.
earlier the audio sounds really good tonight. So
All right.
it's kind of interesting on our end, guys. We can't we hear each other, and it sounds balanced to us, but we can't hear what you're hearing. And so definitely, if we're ever kind of unbalanced or somebody's just way 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 too loud, definitely let us know because we've yet to figure out a system that kind of lets us know internally, how we can level match that for you guys and get the quality the best as we can for you guys.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think that's it.
Absolutely,
Everybody
man.
have a happy new
Happy
year.
New Year, man.
And that's all I got. That's all I got.
2020 is going to be awesome, man. Hope you guys have an incredible week, an incredible new year with your family, with your friends. And it's going to be bad, man. It's going to be rocking.
Yeah. Happy
Look
New
for
Year.
Look for exciting stuff on Joe and Tell's channel, Shauna D, the Techno Dad, Youth Man, and New Record Day.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
gonna be
gonna
a
leave
great
the
year.
link in the description to everybody's channel. So there you go. All right,
Cool deal
guys.
on Joe. Thanks so much. Have a great night, sir. Guys,
Take
y'all be blessed.
take care.
All
Bye
right.
bye.